Our passion didn't start with the mouth. It started with people, with the well-being of the profession. And if you're like me, maybe a little bit of your nerdiness and all things tech too. We all want to love what we do, but the truth is burnout, people problems, and glass ceilings can keep us from doing what we set out to do. So let's get back to the heart of connection. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. This show is about passing you the knowledge, the habits, the systems, and the strategies to lead your teams, lean on your tech, and listen to your gut while you take care of people and truly the overall health of our communities. Let's stop using the wrong end of the toothbrush, y'all. My name is Dr. Kelly Tanner. Oh, and uniquely, I'm a dental hygienist too. You can consider me a guru in the dental and leadership industry. With over 3 decades of experience, my goal is to take you to the next level by empowering growth, perspective, and confidence. By identifying the gaps, recognizing the plaque, and extracting the truth with the other experts in the field. I'll share their stories, empower you to own yours, and elevate your passion in the process. So have a seat in the chair, put on your bib, and let's get to work. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. I am your hostess, Dr. Kelly Tanner. And today I have with me Dino Vlahavas. Dino, thank you so much for being with us.
Well, hi, Kelly. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure and always really nice to see you again.
Yes, I met Dino a few weeks ago. It seems like it's been months, but it's only been a few weeks, right, Dino? In Canada, when I went up to speak for a line at the Genesis Global Dental Training Center. And I'll tell you more about my experience because I'm going to let Dino tell his story. But the amazing 5-star white glove experience that you all put on for me and for the guests there, Dino, was bar none anything that I had ever experienced. So that's how I met him. And he told me about his story. And it's everything that this show is about, which is leadership, communication, and technology. So Dino, I always start with the question, why dentistry? Why are you in dentistry?
Yeah, no, and again, like I said, it was an absolute honor to have you and your team here. And I know that a lot of the feedback, certainly that we received from your lecture, was absolutely incredible. So congratulations to you, and thank you for that. So why dentistry? I've been in sales my pretty much my entire life, even from a very young age, working sort of in the restaurant industry with my uncle, and kind of learning a lot about the people side of things from a very young age. I actually had no choice, to be honest with you. It's like kind of threw me out into this wilderness with a bow tie and a tuxedo, and servicing people. It was pretty incredible, and a lot of the things that I've learned truly to this day was, a lot of it has to do with that sort of environment. But over time, I, throughout school and university, started my first sort of true sales career pathway through the world of big pharma, as we say, big pharmaceuticals with Merck Frost. My sort of specialty there was diabetes, cholesterol, and hypertension. And then it wasn't too long after that when I met my beautiful wife, who is in Toronto, and I wasn't in Toronto, and I had to kind of maybe start looking for, something a little bit more close to the city, just to facilitate sort of our new life together. The opportunity came up to join Straumann. Straumann is, as you might know, the biggest implant company in the world. And I, for 13 and a half years, kind of worked with the sales side of things, of course, and kind of gradually got into the role of executive sales director. And I had the luxury of managing many people over time. At one point, I was managing 3 provinces here in Canada: Manitoba, Ontario, and Saskatchewan. For me, the sales coaching and leadership side is really based on who I am at my core. It's all things family. This is my word. I live it every day. I've always believed that everybody wants to belong to a family, and a family in the context of people who are going to be there for you, supporting you through the good times, the challenging times, the hard times. Kind of being that channel of, hey, you can do this, and if we're all here, we're all in it together, kind of idea. And when I think in organizations, I think from a culture perspective, it's very critical. I think people need to know that every day what they're doing and participating in sort of their jobs and roles, that they're fighting for something that's bigger than them, and it's helping people. So over those 13 and a half years, I was very blessed to work with wonderful people. We had a lot of fun. We broke through a lot of barriers and really helped the market, do great things. And it was all because, we had a really good, authentic a story to tell to our customers, and enabling them to also be part of a wonderful journey in terms of helping the market grow. And as such, they were able to be a little bit more and a lot more confident, not only as them as individuals, but as a team, to deliver exceptional dentistry to their patients. And then about, I would say maybe now 14 months ago, I made a very emotional decision, but a decision that I was ready for, to now sort of move on from the world of commerce, and really kind of transition into the world of patient care, and partnering with an exceptional man, Dr. Stephen Bongard on my side, who a great visionary, really looking at the world of implantology through the lenses of immediacy, which is the ability for dentists and their teams to treat patients by extracting a tooth or implanting a dental implant, and allowing that patient to leave that same day with a temporary tooth, or teeth, as we say here at our facility. Because it's what they kind of want, it's what they kind of expect, but predictably, it's a real solution that we here have been able to offer our patients and our referrals for over 25 years. And dentistry in a whole, I've always had a really strong passion for it. As every year that kind of came and went, it just got stronger and more appealing to me, because there's so many different moving parts. There's so many things that the average dentist is challenged with, that can sort of create, moments of frustration and, second guessing themselves. So I felt, if there's a way that I can help give back to this amazing profession that was so kind and so welcoming for me, now was my time. And so today, this is, truly what I do, on this side of the world with Chrysalis Dental Centers, Genesis Global Training and Education, and Build Technology. It's kind of a unique ecosystem where we really help dentists from the very beginning of the moment they graduate, for the rest of their journey, sort of having a place and a community resource that they can, rely on and be connected to help them and their team, again, as I mentioned, be very successful in the profession.
So do you feel like, Dino, that when you entered into dentistry, that you felt like family?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right away.
Yeah, I know that's a big, how when you walk into a building or you walk into a group of folks where you can sense that it's a frequency, it's palpable. And Dino and his team there, it was, as I mentioned before, I can't say it enough times though, that it was first class. You could tell that before you even told me your history, Dino, you told me about your upbringing in hospitality and about how it's always customer centered, right? And then I sense that when I say I walked in and you guys handed me a gift bag and made me feel like part of the family, you guys didn't know me from anyone. I think that the owner didn't even know that I was a speaker, and he still treated me like he had known me all of his life. But I could sense that with you and your integrity in what you do. And from what I saw in my perspective, you all, if Dino showed me around, because he said, "Would you like the tour?" And I'm looking around, I think my mouth was open for like the first 20 minutes. I was like, let me close my mouth on this amazing facility that you are in charge of. That's part of the clinic that you all run every day. So first, can you tell me about, well, because I want to talk about the part that I experienced, but you told me a lot about the implant the clinic part of it and who you serve there, which you are community centered. You're community centered for the people who you serve, and then also for the dental profession to come and to train. And that's what I felt like was such a warm center of my heart that connected with what you all were doing. So tell me more about the implant side of the building there that I was in that day.
Yeah. So the whole journey really started through sort of the vision of Dr. Stephen Bongard. Um, when I'll take you back a little bit of years, but when I was, in the world of Strawman, I was brought up in the world of dental implants and sort of the traditional workflow, which would be, a tooth essentially was extracted. There was a bone graft. The patient would, wait a few months for that to heal. They would come back to the clinic. They would have an implant placed with a healing abutment. Then they would wait another consecutive X amount of months, 4 or 5 months or so for healing. Then they would come back to the restorative doctor. They would take an impression. The impression would go to the lab for a tooth fabrication kind of idea. And that journey, although it's very validated, of course, and it's a lot of kind of what happens out there today, and nothing wrong with it, of course. It's tried, tested, and true. I also discovered with Dr. Stephen Bongard for well over 20 years, what he was doing was this whole idea of immediacy, which was really geared, as you mentioned earlier, around patient centeredness, office centeredness, practice centeredness. It was the ability to create a solution where on that same day of surgery that predictably that you could achieve an implant same day with a transitional tooth or a temporary tooth, so that patient could leave that day and really enjoy sort of their new smile right out of the gate. Maybe they have a wedding to go to, or they're, nowadays with Zoom calls and things like that. So not to be too shy to present themselves on screen kind of idea. These are real things that patients psychologically sort of are looking towards when they visit their dental office in this capacity. And when they don't get a chance to leave with that expectation that they're giving up their tooth today, but hoping to get one as well, right? Doctor, this is what they think. We've been able to really streamline that process for them to be able to achieve this. And in doing so, it really helps the patient from the healing perspective. It's managing the soft and hard tissue, having all the digital data and information that's, limits a lot of the potential guesswork, if you will, once the final fabrication is completed at the laboratory level, to really make this a byproduct that is going to last for a long time. And should there be any complications after the fact, a lot of the information is already captured up front, so we can quickly, with the agility of that, recapture a case if it needs to be, kind of idea. So in that model, what we did is then extended that through the Genesis Center. And the Genesis Center is an immediacy center. It's founded on those same principles. Obviously, implants is our main game here at Chrysalis. We don't generally do, routine dentistry. It's hyper focused on implant dentistry at the highest level, and we train that. We train what this solution looks like from start to finish. For the entire dental team, we really highlight the importance of creating value, addressing, money conversations with patients, the challenges and these sort of barriers that oftentimes the team is faced with, trust and, time. These are really big barriers for a lot of these offices. And so, as we always say, if you don't really get the yes from the patient at the end of the day, it's hard to run a dental business, if you will, at the end of the day. And so all of these things are what we teach. It's a very holistic approach to providing care. Everybody on the dental team, as we always say, has a role and responsibility. Everyone has an instrument, a unique instrument that they play. Having said that, everybody should be playing the same song, if that makes sense. And so this is how the Genesis Center was built, and it's an international landing center. We're minutes from Pearson International Airport. We have dentists from all over the world and their teams that come to our center to train on immediacy. They're also learning about other programs that we provide at Genesis. As a community resource, we have, the very beginnings of, onboarding a dentist through the path of understanding tooth-borne sort of opportunities to endodontics, and then building their skill set into veneers and implantology, prosthodontic considerations on those implants, guided surgery, digital innovations, how those apply to making things much easier and simplified for them in terms of treatment planning proposals to patients. And it goes on and on and on, and then direct mentorship, if you will. The third part of the evolution and completing the circle, if you will, was creating a way where we could also support the dentist clinician through their journey of renovating and building out their own offices. And so in the world of construction, and this is not to say that there's a lot of great companies out there that are in this space, we found that if we could create something in that world that was centered around the customer the same way we center the clinic around the patient, that we might be onto something to really help dentists. Oftentimes dentists, when they go through this journey, they'll renovate and build offices almost as a monument to themselves. And it was just fair, because a lot of dentists, they spend a lot of time in their offices, and it has to feel right, and be comfortable enough to run their daily operations. Except where we help them is to think about, when you're renovating this office and building it out, is the renovation in of itself 100% aligned with their business plan for growth? Mm-hmm. Because the business essentially is who's responsible, so to speak, to pay for that renovation and build, and the growth beyond that. It's different than building a home, which is a lot more emotional, so to speak. And so is there purpose to it? If you want to be a dental office that's going to be focused on providing more dental implant care or orthodontics or whatever the case may be, are you actually set up to be the most successful in that space? What are patients going to discover when they're in your office? Mm-hmm. How are they going to be greeted? How are they going to have these wonderful experiences from the very moment and understand, oh my goodness, yeah, I made the right call here, the right choice. I'm in the right place. This all makes sense. And yes, I'm ready to do this, doctor, kind of idea. And so as that kind of comes to fruition and we help doctors realize this, we've created a very unique path through incorporating artificial intelligence, 3D rendering technology, LiDAR technology, intraoral scanning sort of principles, if you will, but using a cell phone or a mobile device to capture that data, where we can re-triangulate space and use, DME files and STL files and all of these wonderful terms and attributes to recreate the space virtually. The dentist then walks into their new build with their VR headset, and they get to see their new office to the finest details before any hammer or nails in essence has come out. And so as that whole cycle kind of turns on itself, and doctors are now, really benefiting from their growth and aspirations, maybe they onboard new associates or they invest in other clinics, they can plug those individuals, that growth, into the system again, and allows them to again build on that confidence, providing a resource for their people to be educated and trained, and the cycle kind of keeps going and going. It's a snowball effect, and yeah. everybody's sort of winning in that environment. So hopefully that made sense.
So okay, you're doing like a VR, kind of like well, first of all, you create this through like a digital scanning, kind of like you would with 3D scanning. Then the doctor walks in with a VR headset. They can see it down to the finest detail, faucets, drawer pulls, you name it, right? Okay, so what happens when they purchase this? Sight unseen, kind of. I mean, that's kind of what we do anyway. But and they don't like something, and they say, because in real construction, you just say, "Can you tear this down? I don't like this," or whatever. But it's constructed and fabricated in a different way. So what happens with that?
Yeah, so because of the technology that we use, we pretty much eliminate a lot of that sort of disruption, if you will, that could happen. I'm going to try to draw a parallel here. If you can imagine the world of dentistry, where if we think of digital dentistry, the gateway to digital dentistry obviously comes through the intraoral scanner. So let's assume you're using your iTero device and you scan the patient's mouth, and that data that you have has now triangulated the space inside the patient's mouth. Once you have that information, now you can take the cone beam CT, you can take, you can design a crown, a new crown. You can virtually place a dental implant on that plan. You can do all, as you know, all of these wonderful things in the software, manipulating the software, the data in the software, sorry. And once you've built that plan, that digital plan of what this tooth is now going to look like in relationship to the dental implant, then the third part of this is the production side. Maybe you want to 3D print a temporary tooth. Maybe you want to mill a final tooth out of zirconia, whatever the case may be. In the world, in our world of construction, it's the exact same thing, except your mobile device is your intraoral scanner. You would
so
walk into your
wild.
office and take out your phone, and you would take a couple pictures and a short video. That's the scan. And with that scan, we can re-triangulate what's in the mouth or in the office. And then in the software, in our proprietary software, we can now start to work with the dentist and say, okay, let's think about what your plan is. And once we understand the plan, we start working on all the fine details of what that mouth or that office is going to look like. And once we have that in place, the customer, just like the patient, so to speak, can put on their VR headset and walk into their new office with all of the fine details before any surgery is taking place.
So wild. That is so
And
wild.
when they hit go and they say, yes, I'm ready for that treatment, our lab, so to speak, is a facility, a milling facility that we have where we do our own millwork. We do the millwork, custom-made solutions, bending pipes and cutting glass and all of these wonderful things. And the lab box, so to speak, is a large metal container, the big shipping containers, that everything gets put into, consolidated, and then it gets shipped on site. And here's where the next part of the magic happens is our construction team only work on dental offices. That's where their specialty is. They can segment the build in a way, or the renovation, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to shut down the full operations of the clinic, where the dentist can still be operational to drive revenue.
Wow.
Kind of idea. And so this is the real magic of kind of what we do there. And you know, when in construction there are so many opportunities for things to maybe go sideways, where somebody is given a price on something, and now the price is not what they initially were told.
Right.
Maybe somebody, their dream is becoming somebody else's dream. Communication is kind of all over the place. So we've been very focused to stay in the lane of changing those feelings and those words with, the team that's doing my renovation, when they finished the floors, for example, they took a short video and they posted that on a one link where everything is housed, and you could be in sort of your pajamas at home, and you get a notification your floors are ready, and you click on that sort of tab, and you can see where the next level of progress is going within your office. So taking away the anxiety, communication, no one's getting back to me, it's not what I envisioned, all of these things.
Yeah.
And switching that up with, oh my God, this is incredible. My dream is coming alive. My team is involved. We're excited, we can't wait to get started and run our new office. And that's kind of the thing that we're providing to the marketplace.
That is crazy. Yeah. That is so crazy, because you can, and I love how you said that you can segment this. And so the doctor can still be operational and just section off that part of the renovation or the build, whatever that is, and that you also specialize in this. And there's so much.
Many people ask us to do their homes, like to renovate their homes, but that's not our arena, so to speak. Again, like I mentioned, it's very much on the dental clinic. Yeah.
There's so much so many traumatic experiences with building a house or building anything or renovating anything that, I mean, I know that I've built two homes, one home where we were the general contractors on it, just to take all of that out of it because you had no idea what they were doing the moment you weren't looking, of something's put in at a wrong angle. And then you walk in, it's like, that changes everything. You gotta uninstall that to redo.
And it's really about involving the customer, just like we do the patient. I've always believed that, if you tell somebody something, they maybe remember 5% of the conversation. If I take out a pencil and a piece of paper and I draw you a picture, maybe it jumps to, 10 or 15%, but it's only until you're actually involved that you really understand the value of something. It's like learning to drive a car for the first time, maybe. You take the theory, sure, you understand and you learn it, but it's not until you get into the car and you have the driving instructor to your right and you start in the parking lot, right? Making the left turn, right turn, blinking, reversing, building your skill set, building your confidence. And then eventually you kind of, switch spots almost, right? You now take over the steering wheel and now put it into practice more. So you go onto the main road and onto the highway, and it's the same idea. And we really want to be as close as we possibly can to our, customers and our patients in that regards, just because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, and then I mean the way that so you're serving the dentist and their team at that level. You're serving the community with your implant clinic with the best products. But you guys, when I walked into the Genesis Center, there's, first of all, you walk in and there's milling stations on the left-hand side. Just so impressive where you guys are doing milling. Was it 3-4 devices there?
Yeah, there's a different various mills. There's what we call wet mills and dry mills. There's 3D printers. There's post-processing units, things like that. But yes, yeah.
You walk in, and this is just on the education side, okay? Just on the edge. I didn't even see the other side. He was explaining it to me, but I was just so in awe about what they had, where I was at. So then we walk in, and there's pictures on my Instagram, if you guys want to go to my Instagram reels, about the all of the amazing aspects. So I walk in, straight ahead was the theater. That's what I called it. I'm not sure if that's what you called it. How big is that screen that I was presenting on? I mean, that was like size of it looked like it was in Times Square.
Yeah, it's just under 1,000 inches. That's a big one for sure.
I was like, I get to be up there. So then we were patched in and a distance, and it was a room full of doctors. We did some hands-on with the iTero. But then to your left, you have a place, a full-on cafeteria, a dining area that everyone could sit. I mean, if you think about where you go right now to hold these in-person events, that there's so much cost, and then there's so much that goes on. So you have thought of a way to centralize everything to make it possible. There was a lounging area where you could go take a couple golf swings. You could, I don't even know what else you could do in there. And then, wait, y'all, that's not it. There was an entire sim lab there with an instructor. I would love to be the instructor in that classroom, that it's sitting there and it has all the newest, greatest equipment. Again, go to my reel so you can see the sim mannequins, and the instructor is instructing on the screen. They can place implants. The team places implants even, right? Like the assistants, everyone, when you guys do training seminars there for the team, everyone's placing them. And then you guys 3D print the mandibles and everything. It just is, it's sustainable. And I love that about your facility.
Yeah, it's important. When we were building this out, it's exactly like you said. It had to be designed in a way where it was simple for everybody, simple for everyone to use, simple for everyone to understand. When you're doing a hands-on exercise in that simulation lab, for sure, it had to be state of the art. Everything, that you're at your own station. And with your dental team, and if the dentist is placing a dental implant, or if a dentist is using an intraoral scanner and taking that information and playing with the software, whatever the circumstance is, that it's being done together as a team. The office manager who now understands, oh, this is what a dental implant actually is, and this is what a temporary tooth, how it comes together because I built it. It changes the conversation in the office because the patient literally will bounce around in the office to different people. They'll speak to the dentist, they speak to the treatment coordinator, the office manager, the assistant, the hygienist, and there has to be a common theme in terms of that conversation where they feel, you know what, it doesn't matter who I speak to, you know, the value, I understand it quite well because it's the right thing to do for what the doctor is proposing here. And that all comes through this type of education. We've always, me personally, over the years, I found after being, you know, and again, there's a great education out there, don't get me wrong. Oftentimes dentists who participate as solo people, individuals in a lot of these programs, they get really excited for sure. And they want to go back to their office Monday morning. They call a meeting. Okay, we're changing everything and we're doing this now. And immediately the staff looks at them as if, you know, they have, you know, four eyes kind of idea. And they're like, what's he talking or what's she talking about? Right. But, you know, when you do it this way, it's actually oftentimes the reverse happens. It's the staff that is so motivated. They feel like, you know, the contribution to what they're providing to the team as individuals it goes in a very different direction. And as such, it benefits the entire office because, like I said earlier, it's the patient who understands the value in all of this, but they see the excitement in the staff. Yeah. It's like this confidence thing that happens that people relate to.
It's the buy-in. It's the buy-in for the value that you're creating, and you get to be a part of it.
Yeah,
because you know exactly what's happening. How many? I could ask you questions all day.
Sure.
How many courses do you all put on every year? I was a part of one that's an annual course, but how many courses a year?
So we do many courses. And so there's two sort of arms to the Genesis Center. Genesis, as a community resource, has its own branded courses. And those courses are anywhere from implant-related immediacy courses. Everything is, we try to do it in a way where it's really understood in its most simplest forms without making things too complex. You know, sometimes you go back to the core basics. It's pretty interesting what you can achieve, so to speak. But beyond dental implants, we have a full end-to-end education platform. For example, a dentist who just recently graduated can participate from the very beginning of how do I properly communicate with patients? How do I address, as I mentioned earlier, these barriers of case acceptance? Taking the next level maybe into something like an endodontics program, understanding how to manage existing teeth, graduating into something a little bit more complex with short span veneers, you know, 4 or 6 units, larger sort of into larger span, then going into implantology, understanding the intricacies of prosthodontics as a relationship to where the implant is going to be placed, going into the surgical aspirations of placing a dental implant, simple, straightforward, into more, you know, more robust, advanced full arch rehabilitation type cases, into zygomatic implants, training and developing zygomatic cases. Then, as I mentioned, all things digital. The whole thing is certainly the digital and technological sort of innovations around that. And then there's the direct mentorship. So it never really ends.
Yeah.
Think of it as a one continuum. It can be modular. Then we also have, as I mentioned, the second side of this, which is companies like Align, 3M, Dentsply Sirona. It could be anybody. They study clubs, associations who will literally use the facility, rent the facility out for their own internal educations, their own meetings. So the sky is really the limit. So from an education and course perspective, there's hundreds of them that are constantly going and revolving throughout the day. There could be 3 different programs simultaneously running in the facility at any given time. So it's a dentist once told us, it reminds him of sort of the Disneyland of dentistry kind of idea. And
it really is. That's what I want.
Yeah,
it really is. You guys, if you haven't been, you've got to go. You know, they got to get an invite from you, Dino. So it's like
everyone's welcome. This is for sure.
Yeah. So
everyone's welcome.
if you want more information about Genesis Global Dental Training and Builds, you go to the show notes, and there is a link in there to get in touch with Dino. And Dino, are there any final words, any advice that you would give to anyone, or lessons learned that you want to offer our audience?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of I mean, there's a lot of books and papers written on, you know, positioning yourself with other like-minded individuals. I think everybody, you, me, everybody has sort of this, as I call it, this flag that we kind of carry. It's not in the physical presence, but this flag is is representative of who we are as individuals. And I think that sometimes it can be easy to get trapped by, the financial aspect of, in terms of the byproduct of everything we do every day. But I'm a firm believer that that flag that we carry should be a symbol of, connectivity, helping people, trying to discover ways where, offices and teams are sort of, caught for what maybe good looks like, kind of idea. And I think as human beings, we owe that to each other.
Yeah.
I think if we can help, be that ecosystem of support, challenging individuals, trying new things that maybe never have been tried before, and just take some chances on things and learn from those things, that we continuously move the progress of what we can do and achieve in dentistry every day. Yeah. And certainly in that sort of, in my world as an equation, if you will, the byproduct is going to be everything that you want anyways. It'll be happiness, it'll be balance, money, fame, all of these things. It's the equation up front is the most important thing for me. And so if I could share something back, this is what it would be. Look to your left, look to your right, look forward, look backward, surround yourself with people that, make you better, that challenge you, try not to live in sort of your own sort of little, world, but rather try to break that out and see what other things that, whether you can either learn or contribute. It's just an amazing thing, because at the end of the day, if we're not doing this for each other, I mean, what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And giving back and leaning into our gifts, and like you said, playing an instrument, but all playing the same song, hopefully. Well, Dino, it has been a delight having you on the show today. I so appreciate your time and all the information you're sharing. You guys, if you want to get in touch with Dino, again, it's in the show notes, and he will personally escort you around the building to give you a tour. I can know that firsthand, but thank you.
Our home is your home, for sure.
Yes, and you feel that way when you feel that way when you walk in. Well, to all of my listeners and followers, I just so appreciate every one of you and all that you do for our communities who you serve. And if you wouldn't mind doing me a favor, go on over to Apple and always give me 5 stars. Give the Dental Handoff 5 stars, because Apple is the one that matters. And then go on over to YouTube, like, subscribe, and share to all the friends that you love. Have a great holiday season, everyone. Dino, thank you again, and I will see you on the flip side, my friends. Take care.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays to everyone.
Bye-bye.